Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Soul School Network. My name is Greg. I'll be facilitating our discussion today. It is Sunday, June the 7th, and we have a special guest with us, Raquel Bruno. She is a veteran TV and film producer from the U.S., and more recently, her work has sort of focused on more soul-centered coaching and helping young women and young creatives as well, who sort of align their purpose, passion, and power. So we'll get into a discussion with Raquel and open things up for questions and discussion. But first, let's do our usual grounding meditation with Corianka, one of our facilitators. So Sue will roll the old tape on that.
I will do that. Here we go. Lie down or sit in a comfortable position. To start, you might close your eyes if that feels good. Take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll start scanning our body.
Like Miss Cassandra said earlier,
starting at the head. We'll do this together. We'll just observe without making any meaning out of it. Scan the crown of your head, the back of your head, your face and neck, your shoulders, one arm and then the other, all the way down to your hands. Now your back, from the neck all the way down to the final bone of the spine. You can focus your attention now on your chest and your abdomen. Are there any sensations so far? Any muscle tension? Just observe it for now. Continue with your right leg and foot, and your left leg and foot. Wherever you found tension, let it go. Gently, by visualizing that it is a white cloud that slides down your body all the way to your feet, leaving your body through the soles of the feet. Perhaps there will be many clouds of tension leaving your body. That's great. You're letting them go. You can feel good about it. Once tension is out of your body, it will be gone and transformed into life-giving energy. Let's take a deep, relaxing breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it feel good. You can stretch your body and make sure you are comfortable wherever you are. You are a beloved child of God and the earth, deeply connected to her. Notice how your feet are planted on the ground, either physically or energetically at all times. Feeling the earth with the soles of your feet. Feel how your energy grows and extends itself from the soles of your feet towards Mother Earth. You are growing energetic roots that go into the moist, rich soil under your feet, uniting with the Mother, receiving nourishment and love from her. The more your roots extend and go deeper and deeper into the earth, the more you feel deeply grounded and held in love by Mother Earth. Stay present in this moment. You can feel it. Remain grounded and present in this moment. Grounded and present. Grounded and present. You can gently go back to your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. Now you can slowly open your eyes when it feels good to you, and move your body slowly as you come back. Enjoy a beautiful day.
Thank you, Koryanka. That was a wonderful way to get us into the sort of mood for a discussion and to meet a very interesting guest. Welcome to Soul School Network, everyone, to our new guests and also those who watch us on YouTube. It's Sunday, June the 7th. Our guest today is Raquel Bruno. Raquel has spent 30 years as a TV and film producer in the New York area of the United States. She's really worked with a whole variety of talent through that time and helped to really develop creators and personalities, help them become the best versions of themselves through passion and purpose. And so that's really where Raquel's work connects with what we do here on Soul School Network. One of the topics that she'll be touching on is called Ikigai, and we've of course had a chance to learn a little bit about that in the past. It's a Japanese concept that means reason for being, and it sort of comes at the intersection of doing what you love, what you're good at, what the world really needs, and also what you can make a living doing. So she'll share some of her insights on Ikigai and also all of her work with creatives, and maybe it'll be inspiring to some of us here. So welcome, Raquel.
Thank you so much. Well, I have to live up to that introduction. I'll pay you
Yeah,
later.
yeah. If you could maybe start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, about your life journey, and about what kind of led you to your passion, and then later helping others.
Sure. Well, it is a pleasure and an honor. And again, thank you to Michelle and Susan for really reaching out and bringing me. I always say there are no accidents. It's always kismet. It's always a place where people are supposed to be in that moment. And the universe will not pass you by if it's meant to be in that moment and that time and that structure. I mean, time is a construct anyway, but sometimes things happen in the moments that they're supposed to happen. And I'm really honored to be a part of all of you and of the Peru crew, as I'm now calling you now. Uh, so I started out really in my business and really the love and passion I had for music is really where it all started for me. My parents and my uncles, all my family are musicians. So my first memory, my early core memory is growing up on a recording studio floor. My mom's a jazz singer, and my dad is a songwriter and arranger. And all my uncles were session musicians. A lot of them, most of them, they came over from Italy. They played upright bass. I used to joke with my grandfather and say, "Couldn't you start a band?" And he said we had one instrument, so they all played the same instrument. But they went on to play with folks such as, you may know, I've heard of them, Frank Sinatra and a few others, and they really were my foundation. I started out playing music, guitar, violin, piano. I also sang, and I also really got an understanding of what music was all about. Bringing instruments and equipment for my mom when she used to gig, when she used to go have her weddings and her parties and what have you, or my parents would record. So I had an early snapshot and framework of what I wanted to do. Now, as we know, as soul journey folks together, that we choose our blueprint, right? So we really understand what it is to move into this space with understanding what the lessons are at that time. And my parents really gave me that start. And my grandmother, my dad's mom, really was my spiritual inspiration. At 7, we go visit her up in upstate New York and not far from Canada. We go to Rochester. And at 7, I just knew. She looked at me and she said, "Well, we've been here before." And to a 7-year-old, some 7-year-olds would say, "Well, what does that mean?" I knew exactly what she meant, is that we're here together traveling, and she was really, and she speaks to me all the time, and she's always helping to guide me. I have a few spirit guides that help me out. And one of them is Copper, which I will speak about. And this is actually, I mean, if I choke up, it's because it's a year to this month that we lost my beautiful Buddha dog. And our pets are also our family members. And I think a lot of the times, our human selves don't allow our soul selves to really mourn when they have passed. And that's one thing that I've actually put forward, is making sure that normalizing, saying goodbye to our pets and really allowing them to still exist in our space. Just because they leave this earthly plane does not mean that they leave us. They're always there waiting for us in the Rainbow Bridge to check in. So, growing up, I knew I wanted to do something in music, and I speak all the time to the next generation of creatives, whether in high school or in college. And I just went back to my alma mater in high school. I moved back into the house that I grew up in, which is a very happy home. My mom couldn't take care of it anymore, and I had a growing family. And I went back to the high school, and I remember saying to this, it was a group of young girls, about 60 of them, and they said, "Well, how did you know you wanted to do what you wanted to do?" And I said, "Well, I didn't know exactly what it looked like, but I remember my guidance counselor handing me a piece of paper and saying, 'What on this piece of paper do you want to be?' And I looked at it and I said, 'It's not on this piece of paper, but I know it exists.' I just knew my North Star was so strong that I knew I needed to be around creatives. I knew that I wanted to be around music in some form. But I couldn't define what that was. My young brain couldn't really figure out what it was, but I knew it was my driving force, which is why my company is actually called Drive, because it's something that, my lightning bolt is my logo, because when we come in, we really help people shape and give them a platform to be the best version of themselves creatively. And so, I wasn't sure what that was, and I was able to get an internship through Nickelodeon through a family friend, and that in itself was is a funny story, where I was just given, back then we didn't have internet, we didn't have YouTube. I'm dating myself, but I had a phone number of someone who was a friend of a friend, and they said, "Well, call over to Nickelodeon." and they may be looking for some help. And at this point, I was a high school senior. And I went, called them, and they kind of gave me the brush off. They said, "Well, you're too young. Call back in a year." And I said, "All right, put it down on the calendar, year to the day." Called exactly where on the day that I got the rejection the first time. And I got routed to who ended up becoming my first boss. I got routed to Susan Kearns. And she gets on the phone and she said, "Wait a second, how old are you? And you called a year ago to the date? I think you need to come in and interview with us. And if this is something that you're truly passionate about, we want to have you come in." So I went in. I ended up getting an amazing internship working as a freshman in college. I worked in Nickelodeon. And but it was an internship I hated. I loved the people, but I hated the job. I thought, it's going to be exciting. And now, mind you, it was exciting. We were in middle of, we moved from Columbus Circle to Times Square. I had the most amazing group, and Susan and Diane, who I'm still very close with. They really had me understand what it is to be a part of a family unit within creativity, like being a part of um, a network that was growing. And so our part, this was before all the shows that Nickelodeon were creating. In fact, they were building up the production part of Nickelodeon. We were on the acquisitions programming side of it. So we were literally negotiating libraries, trying to get shows that no one had seen in a long time. And I jokingly say, years later, I was sitting in a room watching TV all day and literally picking the shows we wanted to watch. And my friend, now husband, I remember he said to me, he goes, "Wait a minute, you get paid to sit in a room and watch television?" I'm like, we're very antisocial at that point because we literally are in a room and sometimes we have to remind ourselves to get out of the room and be social and take a minute. But during that time, my internship, I say I hated it only because it was a bit antisocial. I'm in a filing room. I'm looking at a lot of folks up in Canada. We had a lot of programming from our Canadian kids programming networks. And so but I took that as a chance to really understand where I was and what we did. And I got to understand the producers, whether there are folks from Paramount or folks from, I think it's called Nelvana. There were all different groupings that we would work with for programming. And I just made that as a teaching moment for me. But I realized what I don't want to do. And that's something also, it's part of the journey. You have a job, and all of us can relate to this, no matter if you're in creative or anything else. You take a job and you go, "Okay, well, that was the lesson I learned because it's something I actually don't want to do." And that in itself is the lesson. And it helps you go, "Okay, I don't need to go down that journey again. I'm actually going to go back on my path." So that is an important thing, especially for creatives, because a lot of times, especially for women, will just kind of take things on and go, "Oh, well, I need to help this person out or do that." And instead of you're going against your North Star, your inner GPS, which is the greatest gift you can have in your human form. It literally is your stop go. It is the way to say to you, that doesn't feel right. And working against that, especially when you go into flow, and you all know what I'm talking about when you actually go into flow, that is where you're meant to be. When you start going against that, North Star, your GPS, that is when it really starts to hurt you and you go, "Oh, I guess I got to learn that lesson." And you kind of take the longer route. There are no bad ways to do it. It's just whether or not you want to get there a little quicker and be in flow, or you just want to, maybe I need to learn this lesson again and really sit in that lesson. So while I was at Nickelodeon, I ended up going to work for them. Um, a hard thing about that, I had the most amazing bosses, and Susan Kearns was the one who gave me my opportunity. I started working for them. I actually backpacked through Europe and I came home, and because I was waiting to find out if I got the job after I graduated college, went in and I got the job, and I was with Susan no more than 6 months. And this is after 3 or 4 years of knowing her at this point. She started complaining that she wasn't feeling well, and she was young. She was a marathon runner. And I had just lost my best friend to cancer at 19. That was my first big loss. I still get choked up about it. She was my everything. I met her at my very first concert at 15, lived with me in this house actually. And I knew the tell signs of like someone's not well. If I maybe I was just starting to read vibrational energy early on. And I really begged Susan to go get checked out. And she put it off and put it off. And so 6 months into my working for her officially, I lost her to cancer. And so she is still such a big part of my life because she took a chance with a young person, young soul, and had me understand everything that existed, helped get me work before I even graduated college. And she just made me feel seen and heard. And when you're a young creative growing up, that is so important because a lot of people will puff out their chests and be like, oh, just go and run and get me coffee. And they think that they're just a gopher. Where with Susan, she really had me understand the full picture. And losing her so young was another difficult lesson to learn, but I live in honor of her all the time. In fact, I started a internship in her honor from her alma mater, and I ran that for a long time at Nickelodeon. So that was Nickelodeon, and while I was there, that's kind of when I moved on from acquisitions, and they put me into marketing. And while I was in marketing, that's really where my talent booking came into form, where I wasn't sure what it is exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be around creatives and talent and whatever that looked like. Because remember, I grew up with a mom who was a singer who was talent. And so I understood what it was to walk into a room and make sure the talent was set up and give them that platform to feel safe to do the best work that they do on a stage, on a carpet, in front of a mic, whatever that looked like. Now, mind you, a side note, and this is for my older generation folks. My mom growing up always said when I would watch Scooby-Doo, she would say, well, I know the voice of Shaggy. And I would say, what do you mean you know the voice of Shaggy? Well, it turns out that my mom got to know Casey Kasem when she went out to LA, went out to California before she came back to Brooklyn. She was offered a deal through him for A&M Records, and she turned it down because her mom said, "Hey, I need you to come back to Brooklyn, and you're going to start teaching in the fall." And I actually, she might be on right now. I think that might be her on iPhone. I think there's part of her that would have stayed and would have loved to have been, the artiste on A&M, and they were just starting out, and they ended up actually signing Karen Carpenter. Very different singers, my mom and her. But I just remember growing up going, what do you mean you know the voice of Casey Kasem? And when I ended up meeting him years later, working at Nick at Night, he just talked about what an incredible powerhouse my mom was and still loved her to that day. And so I love being able to go full picture and being able to actually meet someone who was such an influence on me because I also loved radio and I still do radio to this day. And I'll get to that in a second. I went on to do MTV radio after Nickelodeon, but radio is a medium to me that I love, which is really no jump from podcasts. It's all kind of that same audio medium. I love putting songs together. I'm still a DJ like I was back then. So when I was at Nickelodeon, they knew I wanted to work with talent. I ended up getting assigned to some folks, whether it was the Brady Bunch or John Ritter or some of the most amazing classic actors. And that's really kind of where I got my stride. And I understood that, and in fact, they would just keep throwing me in with Warner Klemper, like all these people that honestly didn't want to be in the room at the moment. But there, here I was. And I realized talent's no different than any of us. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. They just want to be listened to if there's a problem going on. And so my soft skills really were walking in a room and seeing quote unquote challenges before they become real issues and going and making sure that I'm addressing it so that people feel comfortable when they go in to be their most creative selves. And that isn't an easy thing because most of the time it's my producers or the people I work with that are, time is money, money is time. And I'm saying we can do this correctly or we can do it sloppily. And that may be uncomfortable for you to get to that decision, but that's really where I am, the glue of the operation. So after Nickelodeon, I went to VH1 for a little bit and then I landed at MTV. And at MTV, that's really where it fleshed itself out and realizing that, oh, being a talent booker is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And that is truly what defined me, where I was booking artists, everyone from Beastie Boys to Moby to Alicia Keys, LL Cool J. Every day at MTV, I had at least 5 to 15 artists in a day, whether they were doing a radio tour in the morning or interviews that were being sent out to all of our different affiliates. And it was interesting being an audio group in a visual world. We had TRL, we had all the crazy stuff that was happening at MTV at the time. But I realized that when you're a creative, it's not work. It's really, truly, if you're doing what you're meant to be doing, it is your passion and your purpose, which is how I found Ikigai, which I'll talk to in a minute. it is really one of those things where you're so excited to get up every day because you know that it's not work, it's play. It really is play. And when you know that you can really get paid for what you love to do and play, then you have really hit your stride. And that's something that I always vowed to myself growing up. I remember we were commuting from where we live into the city. As a kid, I was going to school. My mom was a teacher as well. And I just remember seeing at a young age, kindergarten, first grade, seeing the faces of people on the buses. And I vowed to myself, I'm like, I never want to be that. I never want to be the person that's stuck commuting, stuck in that back and forth. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you are filling your cup with other things that you're doing as well. If that is your purpose and you know you need to do it and you do it for your family or what have you, but as long as you are filling up your cup creatively, and if you can find a way to do everything all in one, then you are winning. You really are truly winning. But I just remember early on, I said, there's got to be something better than this for me. I cannot do this. This is a soul death for me. Being stuck every day, back and forth, doing this, it's not what I want. So I thought, okay, I got to figure out what it is. And MTV really opened my eyes to that and made me realize, okay, I can do this. I can be around creatives. I can get, not a lot of money to do it at the time at MTV, but I can do this and I love doing it. I'm able to go to concerts. I started DJing. So that's just a snapshot of me and I can take a break and we can get into any questions and I can keep going from there because I could talk forever.
Raquel, it's so great to have you. And oh my God, the names you're rhyming off, Casey Kasem, the Brady Bunch, all these things resonate, at least with me and my generation. I would like to open things up for questions. If anyone wants to raise their hand to ask a question of Raquel, you're more than welcome to as we go through this the next little bit. But I'd like to start with a question. Do you feel like, you've met all these, worked with all these amazing creatives? Were you, was it at that time that you kind of figured out that you too had a role in helping them in maybe connecting them with their creative genius or helping them realize the mission that they were on? You must have had relationships that were building with some of these artists, right?
It's interesting that you say that. It's really only been in the last couple of years where I've had what I call my era of undoing. I think having my kids, finding my voice, finding my value. Um, as a woman in this industry, it is very hard. We are not valued as much. In fact, that's why I'm in the Producers Guild now. I just got into the Television Academy of 2 Fridays ago because our voices need to be in the rooms more often. As you can see, we're in a really not so great timeline. We don't have to get into all that, but the fact is like our voices have to matter, but the disparities are there. I mean, our what we get paid is 60 to 80 cents on the dollar to our male counterparts, and it's still there. And even in the
Yeah.
tech side of what we do, there aren't a lot of female voices. I was thrilled to see a cinematographer finally win the Oscars this year, a female cinematographer, because that is where we need to be. We need to have move more into the matriarchy in a lot of ways. And so there have been very difficult moments. It's not all glittery roads at all. There have been some very hard moments. There's been times where I've had to even fire some clients with Drive because it just wasn't in alignment with who I am. And so I haven't realized my power until I really started understanding Ikigai. And it was actually a moment in Japan, which we'll talk to in the second, where I just went, something's got to be better than even this that I love doing. And so that is really where Ikigai was birthed for me, where I realized, oh, I actually also have value instead of just being used all the time for the power that I bring to each room. And I started to turn that around and it's like, well, no, wait a second. I actually do have a voice, but that took a long time. My company's 20 years old at this point. If that gives you any
Oh,
indication.
yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to learning more about that. Sarah has her hand raised and she has a question. Sarah is also a fellow creative in many ways, and she even does rap, so she can entertain us
Love
with
that.
this. But I know she's got some questions for you because you do certainly have a connection. Sarah?
Thank you so much, Greg, and thanks, Raquel, so much for your share. I'm just really moved because the kismet, as you said, in many ways, our story is just it's their parallel lines. That's house music connection. I saw on your we followed each other on Instagram, and you posted something about Todd Terry, and that's my wheelhouse. And it was
Mhm.
really the underground music scene that got me to begin freestyling and singing. And I've recorded a couple of house tracks that are on vinyl, and you
I may have to
know
buy it. We have to
I
hold
was
on. We got to fix that. We got to buy that and play that. There's actually a good friend on Twitch that I see her there. We'll play it. If I can get
yeah,
it,
I'll
I'll play
send it.
it
Oh yeah,
and
they get
shout you
played.
out.
I mean, I was in Miami once, and a DJ who had done the MTV boat party played the track. And
Oh my
I was
gosh.
just saying to my friend, this is exactly the kind of house music I like, funky beats with a bit of a vocal. And then boom, it was me. And I ran up and I had lost my voice in karaoke the night before. So I run over and this is me, this is me. I couldn't, and we ended up driving around in his convertible and him playing my song. And,
Love
but
it.
it was always sort of this kind of failure to launch with that stuff because I was waiting to be discovered. I'm 47 now, and that was around between the ages of like 18 and 27. I was always, and I would meet these major producers. I was friends with Diplo and Major Lazer. They
Hmm.
had sent me some beats, and I was writing songs, and but it was, oh, this could work, but they wanted a product. They
Right.
wanted me to be, are you marketable? And then one of the producers was saying, well, you can do songwriting. And it wasn't until I let go of this idea of being discovered by someone else and discovering myself that, I had to really, I just started my own coaching service, creative coaching service for creatives. And in the city, I work with children of promise, kids that have an incarcerated parent. I teach them songwriting and
Love
how
that.
you can turn your life into a piece of art and
Mhm.
kind of write your way out of whatever swamp you're in. And it's just, and then I ended up doing my master's at Columbia and all, nonfiction writing, literary translation, working, teaching songwriting, but I'm still building my own way that, it's upon discovering that no one else is going to give it to me. I have to create it myself. And along with that, I really want to help younger creatives to do the same, to find what their own blueprint is and to find their own voice. I have value, I can do it, and no one else can do it the way that I
Right.
can. And it's just really wild when you begin to take the reins and take the power back instead of giving it away, that it can happen. And
Hmm.
I mean, it's just like I said, we both have this unconventional path of discovering that you've really got to follow your heart and your own design.
Right.
Oh, there was something else I was so excited to say, but I kind of lost it. But it's,
It'll
we
come
will
back.
connect, and yeah, we will definitely connect and see what we can do together because it's just, this is the wave of the future. And as you said, this sort of moving into the matriarch, what that means is that it's not that the patriarch is bad, it's that
Right.
that system is all about what you can touch, what's
Right.
tangible, what's in your hand, show us
Right.
results. Whereas the matriarch is more about the visionary, what hasn't been birthed yet, right? We're the
Right.
mothers. And so what is the seed? What's the thing that hasn't yet existed that we're going to bring
Right.
forth? And in our materialistic society, people don't usually bank on something that they haven't yet seen exist.
Right.
So that's why we have to just take it into our own hands and be the doulas, if you will, and
Exactly.
birth it. And
Yeah.
then once
So
it's
let me ask you
there, oh, of
something.
course,
Let me ask you something.
everyone wants to hop on.
Um, what's holding you back? There's something holding you back, Sarah. I feel it in your vibration. What is holding you back from your full-fledged best version of you without anyone looking at you, without any outside voices? What is it that you're most afraid of?
I've spent way too much time helping other people, and so I can help people in a higher from a higher octave. But the focus has been too much on sort of bringing other people's work forward and also sitting with other people's things and like kind of helping them clean up their mess And now, actually, this week, I've got some things booked in the city that are going to be more about moving my own thing forward. And it's
Mhm.
just, I've kind of been in limbo of where I took a step back from the focus on it. And I think in many ways, Colombia, it was great in some ways, but it also was really disheartening because uh, people can be very superficial and lack
Right.
depth. And I think again, like sometimes I just need to step back, put the horse blinders on,
Yep.
and really do it. And even though, we could say I've been held back, but now that I'm reemerging, I feel a lot more grounded than I
Right.
did 2 years ago when I was really in the flow of making things happen, but I was not grounded. I was so
You needed
electric.
that. You needed that side. You needed that to understand it so you could get the strength and the roots that you needed to ground yourself, to really quantum leap you to the next space and release all that fear. So here's what I'm going to say to you, what I would say to all my creatives. There's something in Japanese culture called kaizen. And what kaizen is, if you're not familiar with it, is doing just a little bit every day. And you may not see it in 2 days, in 2 weeks. But when you look back 6 months from now, you're going to see that you've moved the needle because every day you're putting your own oxygen mask on, you're planting seeds in your own garden, and you're tending to that garden. And you are making that a commitment like any other meeting that you have. You've got to make a commitment to you and the beginning part of your day. If you do meditation, however that is, but I need you to pay you first. And I mean that with time and with dedication to your soul. This is what you are meant to be doing. And even if I was brought in just to give the message to you, Sarah, then this is what it's all worth. And you need to understand your worth. And that means undoing, like I've said, I've had my mom and Habeshu both are on here. They've been with me on this journey. It is a period of undoing. And it's okay. It's not being selfish. It's self-care and the fact that your creative voice is going to get louder and louder until you talk to her and let her express herself fully, not with any rules or regulations. And that's sometimes where your intellectual side and your spirit side are having a battle. Let your spirit and creative side come through because you are meant to be freestyling. You are meant to be creating music. And I'm going to invite you also to the Twitch community because that community we started 6 years ago because I lived through 9/11. I couldn't do anything. It was very disheartening to see all that heaviness that I still, the plane is too low, it's too much living in the city.
Hmm.
6 years ago, I had my little 2-year old. We were home and I was like, I got to do something. I can't, I was working on American Idol, that got canceled. Like everything was just happening at once. And I had my old turntables that I got on Canal Street and I plugged
Yeah.
them in and I started going on Instagram, kept getting booted off Instagram. And I just finally was so frustrated. I put on Facebook, I'm like, where am I supposed to go at this point? Because I don't understand why I'm trying to bring a message where I know I'm trying to heal people right now through music. And a friend of mine just said, go on Twitch. I'm like, what's a Twitch? And sure enough, everyone thought it was a gaming platform, but there were a lot of DJs on there and creatives. And I have to tell you, we're 6 years in, we're having a party in July. And people are coming in from all over. We did it 2 years ago, and I held it here at my house. We're getting bigger, but we're at we're at 5,000 people at this point. But it's 5,000 curated, amazing creatives that feel like we may be either the freaks and geeks or those that just want to be in the shadows or I have lurkers. Last night I had
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
people lurking, just
Yeah.
watching me play my vinyl records, but they get something from it. We've
Yeah.
mourned together when we've lost people in the community. We've danced together. We're celebrating Pride. It was the beginning of Pride Month, of course. We celebrate every time I go on. But come to hang out with us, Sarah, there because you will find collaborators beyond your wildest dreams because you're saying yes to the universe. You're saying, yes, I am ready. No more other people's voices. No one else is going to write my script. I'm going to write my own script now.
Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to connect with you. And, you know, before I mute myself here, I will say that there is something beautiful in the pause, in that gestation process of stepping back. Because, like I said, now that I'm back coming in back now. It's on track, it's grounding. And it's for me finding the balance now between having that anchor and then also letting myself be free, knowing that like my balloon is attached to a string and that's okay. So it's just that combination of that balance. And I do know the Twitch community. I mean, during the pandemic, it was I was with DJ Questlove and
Mhm.
D Nice
Yep,
every day. And,
every day. And you saw the energy
I
that
built
that
the
brought.
biggest, yeah, I mean, I was dancing, I was playing music, and it just, that's what got me through it. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, big bless. Thank you so much.
I
I'm
want
really
you to remember
grateful.
one, if you remember anything at all, Sarah, I want you to remember this. Give yourself permission.
Lovely.
3 words.
That's great. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you,
And that
Raquel.
was really great to see that connection. And because, you are on a similar path. Raquel, I loved what you said about dropping the things that don't align with your vision. That's a tough thing to do sometimes, to walk away from something particular when it's linked to financial success,
Yeah,
when the things that are connecting with your vision aren't necessarily that.
right.
So I know you're going to take us through Ikigai momentarily, but Michael has his hand raised, and he always adds some interesting elements to our discussion here. So, Michael, please share with Raquel.
Interesting items. I like that. Um, no pun intended, but I was struck by the word lightning. You used the word lightning at the beginning, and immediately I looked to my left, and I highly recommend this book, which
Oh,
is
that's amazing.
Holding the Lightning Standing Still.
Oh, I'm
And
definitely
it's,
putting that on my list.
yeah, Holding the Lightning Standing Still is a book about Babaji, and it's written by Yogi Raj Gurunath,
Mm.
Gurunath, Siddhanath, Siddhanath. And Babaji is said to be an eternal being who appears in the Himalayas or various places. And of course, when you were talking about guides and spirit guides, I count Babaji as one of my spirit guides, along with a plethora of others. Grandfather William Commandus, who is an Algonquin elder that my family, Susan and I, and Sarah, and the whole Swinwood clan, was basically adopted by Grandfather William Commenda. And so he passed in 2011, and he remains as a spirit guide. And so I really am struck uh, by lightning in relation to spirit guides,
Mhm.
because the work I do, I work with Indigenous people. And I'm a lawyer, so I do a lot of constitutional challenges to the man, to authority.
God
And
bless
I
you in
work
that
with,
work. Really, truly, God bless you in that work.
thank you. It was meant to be.
Hmm.
Uh, when we were with grandfather, Susan and I traveled with grandfather for many years. And I thought, oh, this is what I want to do. I just want to be a helper to grandfather. I don't want to practice law anymore. I took a sabbatical and all that. And grandfather said to me at one point, I want you to go back to practice law and help my people. So I incorporated Elders Without Borders in 1999,
Wow.
and I've been doing that ever since. And of course, we're in Peru because of the spiritual traveling that we did with grandfather. We came to understand the Inca history, the spirituality of the Inca. And then when we came to Peru, we were overwhelmed and just blown away by the energy of the Sacred Valley. And now this is where we live. We live in the Sacred Valley. and we live in incredible energy is what it is. It's incredible, incredible energy. But the people I work with right now is a nation called the Amaqua Nation. And our theme is the ancestors are arranging things.
Mm. Hmm.
So I'm really struck by what you're talking about in terms of your mentors who have passed, but
Hmm.
they haven't gone away.
Mm-mm.
They're with us.
Right.
They inspire us. And so inspiration, which is in spirit. And
Right.
this is where the energy of what you're speaking about, I can hear everything that you're saying is coming from inspiration. It's coming from your understanding of your relationship with spirit. Encourage somebody to greatest effort, enthusiasm, of creativity. We awaken a particular feeling in somebody. Okay. Breath, inspiration, inspire, to take it in and to express it. This is where the rubber hits the pavement, so to speak. And, as I'm speaking, I just feel the energy coursing through, which is coming from the invisible, which is coming from your mentors, your spiritual guides, and everyone here. So
Hmm.
the room may say that we have 11 participants, but 11 times 11 is really what it is. So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that.
Oh no, I love and thank you for that validation. It's super important because the work we do is very difficult and to Sarah's point, and she knows because she's in that side of it, and Michael, you do as well. We're dealing with the human side of us. Our human skin is imperfect, but our souls are perfect. And so the humanness of what we do, which is you got called back to be in, and you were fighting it, going, well, I want to be in the spirit-led group, but really the spirit was saying, yes, but you have a skill. That is the ikigai. You have a skill set that is being used for purpose for a better place, the awakening that needs to happen with Indigenous folks. You have a certain skill set that they need for purpose and passion in alignment. That's exactly what you're doing. And Sarah, to your point, I deal with egos all day long. And if I was an egomaniac, I would be literally rocking in a corner. And it took a long time to have, I mean, listen, I have stomach issues like you wouldn't believe because I've had, I take it really into my solar plexus and I feel things in the stomach because I'm constantly trying to always do the right thing in whatever room I'm in. But I've been in some pretty ugly rooms with some pretty ugly people because they just weren't awakened. When I say ugly, I mean they just weren't awakened, and or they're just utilizing their egos to get things across. I've even had some women that I will not work with anymore because their whole purpose was to hire other women so that they had an escape route. They had someone they can kind of put in a place that they're hurting. They're like, well, I didn't do that. They did that. And when you're in a group, especially in production, there's no they. That we're all together trying to get towards a common goal. And there have been some very difficult conversations I've had to have because to protect the integrity of a project, to protect the talent, to protect sometimes clients from themselves. I mean, I've been in really tough rooms, and Michael, I have to tell you, as a lawyer, sometimes you have to have some very uncomfortable conversations. But that I feel like, and that's why I love the lightning bolt, because like I said yesterday with the storm, that's transfusing and transmuting energies into something else, and that's why when I'm brought in. People know where they stand when I walk in a room because I suffer no fools. It's like, what are we doing? Let's do this respectfully, but we're going to come to a solution. I always come with solutions, and especially in the creative space, because what we deal with sometimes is so ethereal. Like we're literally dealing with ideas, IPs, ideas, moments, thoughts. And how do you so I bring structure to that, but I also have to always have integrity with it. Otherwise, I can't work on a project. It just doesn't speak to my soul. Um, but I know there's a question here I wanted to address. I knew you came on camera. It's so nice to meet you. I see you. I want to may say your name correctly. Tell me your
Si
name.
Silesia.
Silesia.
So
How
it's
are
like
you?
Alicia, but it's Silesia.
Silesia.
Well,
Yes, I was going to ask if you could address her comments. I know you've talked about, that you do have your own spirit guides, but Silesia, maybe you would like to engage directly with Raquel and share your thoughts about your creativity and the blocks that you sometimes feel.
Sure, I'm just going to read what I wrote since it's succinct. So you said that you have your spirit guides, Raquel. So I was wondering if you're ever in a situation where your spirit guides guide you to not follow your passion. And I'm asking because my number one creative block or block to my creative output is when I have these unsolicited voices that I don't reach out to, will direct me to do or not do something um, that goes against my passion and what I want to do. And most of the time, maybe all the time, I'm not sure, when I don't listen to the voices, really terrible things happen, painful things happen. So I've gone to the point where I'm extremely afraid to not listen to the voices, but it's also extremely difficult for me to not do what I feel passionate and really uh, a conviction to do.
So when
And yeah,
besides my spirit guides, I also tap into my higher self. I make sure that I'm meditating, or if not meditating or not walking meditation, I'm literally sitting in quiet. And now, mind you, this is coming from a DJ. So there's the moments where I'm like, I want to be full on house music, as we joked about Todd Terry. And then there's other moments where I know in my day I have to drop the kids off at school. There are chaotic days, but I give myself to sit outside with this greenery behind me, or wherever you can go that is you know, you can feel at what's your space. Like where you are right now looks like a beautiful place, and I feel like that might be a place that gives you some solace and peace a little bit.
well, I found this place yesterday, and yeah,
And okay, but again, it's finding the places that make you feel safe. What I'm hearing is that you don't feel safe. And so what we have to do every day, and remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. I know it's an overused expression, but it really truly is that. And what I've had to do, where I went from the cortisol levels spiking, everything is a five-alarm fire. You have to, that's why I'm calling it my era of undoing. So you have to make sure you're creating a space, a vessel for you every day. And if it means today you're going to sit there for half an hour, I don't know if you have a book, I don't know if you can just listen to the birds, I don't know if you can maybe watch some meditation on your phone, but do something that is literally making you feel safe emotionally, a place where you can start to calm your cortisol levels, not burning yourself out, and just really get in touch with your voice. Your voice is there. Your passions are meant for you. Those are your gifts. That's your thumbprint. You are meant to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. But maybe you're afraid because other people are kind of putting this toxic overlay on you, and that isn't what you're supposed to be doing. You're going to undo it so that you're sitting in safety emotionally, because my vibration check for you is that you feel deeply, and you've allowed other people in that maybe shouldn't have been in, and that's stuck with you. So we have to undo, like I always call it, being the emotional lint roller. I am an emotional lint roller, but I have to know when to clean off that lint roller and be clear. So however that shows up for you, and making sure that you are doing something for you. Again, I say the same thing to Sarah. Give yourself permission to just be. No doing, no reaching, no going after. I want you to really, for the next 2 weeks, give yourself a gift of just existing. When you allow the quiet to come in, that is where you're going to find your flow. And then you will find your voice, and your voice will be like, I've been here all along. I was waiting for the other guests to leave. So you just want to make sure that you allow yourself and trust yourself. But trust comes with safety. And right now, what I'm hearing is that you're not feeling safe in the mindset that you're in. So we need to shift the vibration. We're vibrational beings. We jokingly say that, oh, well, based on the moon. it's all vibration. And so when you've had a lot of vibration that, hold on, little lady is here. Yes, but we're not going to open it. You want to say hi for a second? They gave me an hour, so I got to give them some credit. This is Sophia,
Hi, Sophia.
and she's my gift. I had her at 49, so we'll talk about that. All right, bring it downstairs, then
49.
we'll open it. Yes,
Wow.
and that was a whole other journey.
Everybody in the room?
Not yet.
That's
You bring it and we'll open it when I'm done, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I love you. I like your shirt. So, I want you to dedicate whatever you can do. I don't know your day-to-day schedule, but if you can dedicate 15 minutes to an hour of stillness and go wherever you feel safe in that stillness, that is where you're going to find your voice. And then you're going to know what that voice sounds like, feels like. You'll start to embrace it because you'll realize, oh, that's my higher self talking to me. Because passion that's been with you since you're a kid is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I used to make radio shows with my brother. I'm still doing that. I'm still putting songs together and talking over it, and it's what I was meant to be doing. You need to allow your young self to feel heard, validated, seen, and most of all, safe. So I'm hoping that you give yourself this gift for the next 2 weeks, because with every day, you'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more comfortable, and do the things that your young self loves to do. Allow yourself to play. In fact, this might be a good time that I want to read this to you because I feel like this is what I'm meant to be sharing with you in this moment. I created 10 golden rules to staying creative. And if any of this resonates with you, take it and I'll actually email it to the group. And I wrote this one day when I was going through oh my gosh, I have these clients are driving me crazy. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And really like this, I wrote this about a year ago. Turn down the volume, take risks, and don't listen to the outside noise. Trust your inner voice. Stay connected. Never forget that you know more people than you realize and embrace those healthy relationships. Tap into your inner kid. Get crafty, explore, stay curious, make it fun. That's what you need right now. You need to make this fun so that you find your path. That's when you're going to tap into flow. Dance. Join us on Twitch. The Habashu's on here. She'll tell you every week. I'm making sure the playlist is always staying fresh and different and the vibe of what everyone needs. But whatever that looks like for you, sing, go to karaoke, do what you need to do to make yourself feel happy. Invest in yourself, get the tools you need to succeed to hone your craft. And that can be crafty, it could be anything fun and whimsical. Go as whimsical as you want. Do a little bit every day, even on down days in the field that you love. Vibe with your tribe. Do you paint, DJ, make films? Make sure you find your support systems wherever you travel as well. Get dirty, bake, dig in the crates, paint that picture, mold that clay, do something that takes you away into the flow of creativity. So every day I want you doing so I want you to have like your summer of fun. I did this a couple years ago. I want you to do something every day. And I mean it like go find a new coffee shop, check out a new museum, go sign up for a pottery class. Find what your thing is, because that's really going to help you find yourself and feel safe again. Micro learn that topic. Hate AI, but need it. Want to become a cartoonist? There are 1,000 classes out there. Find one that speaks to you. Go gadget GPS. You have an inner GPS. Use it. Never go against your first instincts. They are there to guide you on your path. But once you get into that safe space, that's when you can utilize that particular line. Heart check. Do it because it makes you happy. Bring it back to the basics. What is it that you loved doing when you were a kid without anything getting in the way of that flow? And that's where you'll find your voice. I hope that
Wonderful.
helped.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said, and I will take your advice and try doing 15 minutes every single day of silence. And I do agree that I never feel safe, and there's always a cacophony of people and voices trying to talk me out of doing the things that I am passionate about. So I agree with everything, your assessment. I'm still not sure about the when I say voices, like it's not anyone physical. It's this I know where it comes from, like telepathy, or I will hear a voice telling me to do this or do that, and I'm not sure how to handle that because I will work on a project for 11 months, not hear anything, and then when I'm done, um, I will hear a voice like, "Don't put that out there," or "Stop doing that," or I had lawsuits. I was told to drop the lawsuits I've been working on for years, and sometimes I do ask like, well, sometimes I do pause and I'm like, "What is this about? Like, why am I hearing this?" And to give you an example, well, with the lawsuits, what I heard is that uh, what I heard is, well, I'm going to be vague, but the voice was saying it's not going to amount to anything. It's like a waste of time. It's pointless. And for the other sticker, I mean, for the other project I was working on, I heard, I, I, I got this feeling, don't put this out there because maybe it's not what I believe. But in my mind, it was the right thing to do. It was very important to improve society. It was something I put years into thinking about and planning. I overcame all sorts of fears, learning curves to do it. And so I get this, and I try to follow the guidance, but then my chest and my heart, I just feel a burning passion to go forward with my plan and what I want to do. And I spent many years doing that. And it's always a nightmare, like a lot of bad luck. So I changed direction and started trying to listen to the voice. But what ends up happening is that burning feeling never goes away. And so I just exist in this indecision, in this gray, where I'm not going forward for what I want to do, but I'm also not listening to the guidance. So
I would suggest, do you have a healer that you work with? Because what I'm
no.
feeling, I'm gonna let's connect. There's an amazing healer that I've worked with for years that actually helped bring my kids to this planet, and I didn't think it was gonna happen. His name is Jack the Intuitive. He's amazing and he does virtuals. You can't walk through a doorway when legions of generations before you are standing in your way. We have to heal where you are. I'm getting goosebumps, so that's always my guides telling me that that's where you are. You have overlay over overlay of fear, and you're not good enough. Don't ask too much. You need to shrink down. You need to, we're not shrinking down. We are all here at this place in this timeline to bring our most expressed selves to help ascend and help the planet ascend. You are a part of that. You chose the blueprint to be here at this very magical time. And there are days where I am cursing and going, what the F am I doing here? It's not always so easy. Habeshu will tell you, there's been moments where I'm like, the kids are, it's a lot happening. My mom's gone through health stuff. But what you have to do, and I say the season of undoing, you have to finally set your foundation because you can't sit down at a dirty table in order to have the cleanliness of what you need in your soul. And so that all comes with healing. So let me connect you with Jack. We can connect on, who you guys can connect us on email. But I really want you to think about healing because all of those voices are all imprints. It's not necessarily voices of what it's voices of what you've been told from ghosts of the past that are sticking to you. And you have to undo it. And you may even have to do, I also love Gabby Bernstein. She does a lot of great meditation. She does cutting the cords. Where are we cutting the cords of what no longer serves you? We need to make you the most optimized engine of who you are as a creative spirit. And right now, other people's energies are overlaid on top of you, and you're not sure where to turn, and you're feeling suffocated. That's the feeling I feel for you. And you need to feel cleansed of the toxic generational stuff that's come through. And they didn't do it on purpose. It's just what they knew. But you were here to be the disruptor breaking that chain down the line and going, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm meant to have my voice be heard and help heal the generations before you. It's it's a heavy crown, but you're up to the task or you wouldn't be here. Finding this great group of people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I will
and
check the healer out and do the exercises.
we'll
Thank
connect
you.
you as well, Silesia,
Yeah.
with Raquel, so you'll be able to contact her directly. That's wonderful. I feel, Raquel, that you know, if there was a purpose to be here for one or two people, we've seen that with Sarah and Silesia, and I think your message, you bring it through. Your background in talent acquisition may not sound like really that the person that you are representing today as really a healer, as somebody who motivates people. And Silesia, I'm happy to see you found this beautiful spot, which may be that very place you chose today might be the place to do some of that work. So that's wonderful. Um, I think we're past our time here, and I know, Raquel, you have things to do this afternoon, so we'll let you go. But do you have any maybe a last few words that you want to share with our group?
Yeah, I was gonna read something from Copper Rules. I touched briefly on that, and and I think it's probably appropriate. So I write. So it's raquelbruno.substack.com. Find me over there as well. I don't write as many because I was saying to Susan, when I write these, I meet. So Copper was with us through. I had 15 rounds of IVF. I had 3 pregnancy losses. It was very tough. So that's why the fact that I have my 2 beautiful kids, they give me hard days, but they are here with a mission and a purpose themselves. And but Copper was with us. He was our first child. He was with us through all of it, the sadness, the pain, and then when they were both here. And so losing Copper last year was a real heavy one for me, and I still am going through it. But when I meet him at the Rainbow Bridge, he imparts me with this wisdom, and I think it'll be really healing for all of you because he was this beautiful 110-pound dog, and he was just the best. And so, one of the things I wrote about, so I started Copper Rules as a way of healing myself because the pain of losing him was just too hard. He's part of my soul family, and I just feel his loss tremendously. But if I really truly am tapping into the spirit side of him, he's not gone. In fact, he's always sending me feathers. There's always feathers, and now we have a new doggy because anytime I was feeling sad, a feather would pop up, and I know that that's Copper. So I'll end with this. It's one of the Copper Rules, and it's Copper Rules number 9. What would Copper do? Carpe diem. Time is short, so live for the day. Time affluence. It is a new term I just learned today that stopped me in my tracks as I embark on Yale's newest course, The Science of Well-Being for Parents. How does Dr. Laurie Santos define that? She states that it is the subjective feeling of having enough time. It's not about the actual amount of time you have, but rather your perception of whether you have sufficient free time for leisure and activities you find meaningful. Essentially, it's the opposite of time famine, which is the feeling of being constantly starved for time. I've done a lot of thinking on this topic. In fact, I had a great meeting with an old friend and colleague today where he asked, "Well, what exactly do you want to do? Go full time or project to project?" At one point in time, I would have jumped at the opportunity to go back in-house at an entertainment company. However, over the past 18 years, I have realized that having time affluence and not time famine was essential, not only for my well-being, but for the time spent with my young children. This all circles back to Copper in a way. Copper didn't have to leave his beloved toy lobster to take a Zoom call or commute into the city for an executive dog convention. His structure of the day was based on living his happiest and best life by greeting us at the door, no matter what toy he was chewing on or nap he was engaged in, circling all of us to make sure we were all happy, and living his best life, running at a dog park or in the yard. All he cared about was living at that moment, in that particular day. The past wasn't relevant and the future was yet to be written. So lived his best day moment to moment, and that made him the richest dog in the world. Actually, all dogs truly know their worth. He didn't have to sacrifice his time for one more meeting or one more client call. His happiness came first, and that was his time affluence. How will you find time in your day to feel rich and worthy? How can you say no to stress while saying yes to time and present moments? Copper wants to know.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful. And as you were holding up a feather, Michael was also holding up a feather. I think, we talk about alignment. I happen to be wearing a Yale shirt, as you mentioned, Yale. So
Wow.
I think there's a lot in alignment. Co has a comment here. If it's okay with you, Raquel, I'm going to send
Mhm.
it to you. Maybe you could reflect on it in an email message to him.
Right. Okay. I
Susan,
see.
did you have something you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
I do. Raquel, thank you so much. You shared so many deep, profound messages. Your wisdom is beautiful and appreciated. And I want to say that I'm not the musician in the family. And however, through your talk, I keep hearing the original version of what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Haven't heard that in a long time. But your message is filled with love and hope, really, and it is the rising time for the mother energy, for the matriarchy, and what a beautiful example you are of that. So thank you.
It means a lot. It really, truly does. And again, there are no accidents. And Michelle, I thank you for that message and bringing me into this group. And I really am looking forward to our next time together. Time is a commodity, and it is well spent with good people that really want the best for one another. And that's what I share with all of you, is that I want you all to live your best life, because I've had too many losses of people, and their greatest lesson to me was that life is too short to worry about things that don't matter. Worry about the things and the people around you that matter, and you all matter. So I hope whatever I said today, again, if it meant one or to all of us that are watching, I just truly thank you for allowing me to have my platform that I give to creatives. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Raquel. You're an honorary member of this group forever. So
Woohoo!
thank you. We all love you very much. And
Thank
I will
you.
send you a note from Co as well as Celicia, having a little addition to that.
Sure.
But thank you again. I hope things go well for you. No more pandemics to deal with. And let's just wrap things up here as we do traditionally with the mantra of unification. Sue, would you like to share with us today, or Michael? I always give them the option of deciding who.
I'll go ahead with it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. The mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Namaste, miigwech, amen, and thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We especially appreciate it if you would visit our website and sign up for the newsletter. You can see that on our homepage. We're back in 2 weeks, and we're going to be having a discussion with an Indigenous bent, if you will. We're going to be talking about some of the values of Indigenous spirituality, which will be a really interesting discussion. 2 weeks after that, we have a special guest as well who will be interpreting dreams. So we'll be sending out on the newsletter an opportunity for you to submit your dreams, maybe things that have recurred for you, and get interpretations of that. So a lot of fun stuff coming up on Soul School Network. thank you all for joining us today, and have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Have a great week, everybody. Much
Bye.
love.
Take care.
Thank
Thank you.
Book your passage, book your passage.
you.